all-new Talica 20A and 25A reels. The Talica series is Shimano's flagship two-speed lever drag reel. It sits at the very pinnacle of the offshore world. The Shimano's Talica success is driven by its durability and spec attributes, allowing the series to differentiate from other lever drag reels within the market. The Talica is built around a cold-forged machined aluminum one-piece frame. The all-new Talica 20A and 25A now boasts Infinity Drive. Infinity Drive employs 2 drag washers housed in the side of the reel, allowing for an ultra-smooth, powerful drag system, while at the same time increasing winding power under a load as much as 40%. There's also a new lower low gear. If your utmost concern is performance without compromise, Talica 20A and 25A are the reels for you. Available now at your local Shimano dealer. Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. FishDope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Quintin, 365 days a year. FishDope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have FishDope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code and save $30 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, and excited about today's show and learn a little bit from the East and learn a little bit from the West.
Learn a little bit about everything. And good morning, Brandon Nelson.
Good morning. How we doing?
Great to have you in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here. And good morning, Max.
Good morning, guys.
Great to have you. Now, where are you, Max?
I'm in Rhode Island.
All right.
That's
in
up
Rhode
there.
Island. Yeah, but that's like Bluefin headquarters, right?
Yeah. I'm positioned really perfectly for bluefin. I have a lot of different ways I can go and cover a lot of water from right where I am. And over the past couple of years, there's really nowhere better to be over here.
That's cool. Now, both of you are on the Shimano Pro staff, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's the tackle you guys use, right?
Every day.
All right. So let's start this side of the world and with you, Brandon. What tackle are you using when you go after big bluefin?
Big bluefin, primarily Talicas. Therese rods, Talica reels. We do a lot of kite fishing, sinker rig fishing. So Talica 50 and 25As are the main ones we're using.
Okay, 25As.
Yep.
And what size Power Pro are you fishing on that?
100 to 130.
130.
Yeah.
All right.
And
you're primarily kite fishing, are you doing? Or?
With the 50s, definitely kite fishing, dead flyers, the imitation flyers, and then the 25s we use for heavy jigs or sinker rig fishing, whether it be early morning or evening or something like that.
All right. Very good. Max, what about you?
So there's a couple different ways we can go about this. For the jigging and casting part of it, I'm using mostly Stella and, grappler rods, Osea plugging rods, game type J jigging rods. And then for our trolling and bait fishing, it's either Talica or Tiagra, depending on the size fish and size reel that I need. For under 50 size reels, I'm using the Talicas. And then for the 80 wides and 130s, that's where Tiagra comes in for me. And for rod wise, it's Therese Blue Water across the board for the conventional rods.
Cool. Well, that sounds great. And now your bluefin are a little bit bigger than ours out here, right?
Yeah, so we still do get those smaller ones, down 200 pounds all the way down to 50 pounds. And those are really the ones that we like targeting on the jigging and casting gear. Not that we won't target giants over 500 pounds on spinning gear, but we do get a ton of 500 to 900 pound fish. That's almost been our most consistent fishery. That's been our most consistent fishery over the past 5 or so years, are those really big ones.
Now, wait a minute. 500 to 900 pounder on a spinning reel? Are you kidding me?
So it's not always ideal. That's where Tiagra comes in. The 130s come in big time there. That's bait fishing, commercially bait fishing for them. But there's times where they're up on the surface chasing bait, and we'll throw poppers to them, or even drop jigs to them if we're marking them down the bottom. And last year, I could say the biggest that we landed on a spinning rod was 550 pounds.
Wow. On a 20,000 Stella?
Yes. That was a 30,000 actually. 30,000 Stella on a Osea plugger, big game, 7 foot, extra heavy.
And was that on Max? Was that on a popper?
That was on a jig actually.
Okay.
Well, we call it a jig. It's a soft plastic. It's a Ronzi soft plastic jig head. So we cast those and let it sink. So that's where the casting rod comes into play. Then we also let it sink down, and they usually eat it on the fall.
Incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine tying into a 500 or 600 pound bluefin?
On a spinning rod? No, not
Yeah. So Max, you talk about jigging as a lot. Like, what percentage of your fish are jigging versus bait versus poppers and that kind of thing?
Yeah. If I had to break it down percentage wise, it's kind of, so let's break it apart. If I'm bait fishing, commercial bait fishing, that's totally separate. That's targeting those giants. If we want to specifically talk about the jigging, casting, trolling for the sub 200 pound fish, say, that's what a lot of people target out here, is those sub 200 pound fish, because they can keep those recreationally, cut them up, eat them. Over 73 inches, we have to sell those. So if I were to talk about just those recreational fish, I would say 50% is jigging, 25% is casting, and then 25% is either trolling or chunking.
Wow,
crazy.
That's cool. And what's the variety of jigs that you're using? 50% on jigs. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. You're talking Cory's language.
I know.
He wants
Bring
to
it
come out
on.
and fish with you. Yeah.
The jigs, my go-to jig is the Shimano Shimmer Fall. That is so versatile that it has every size that I need. It goes up to 210 grams. And I'm never really jigging deeper than, say, 250 feet of water. Sometimes we do, but most of our fish are shallower than 200 feet. So for that amount of depth, that's a perfect size. And the shape of that jig and the action of it, the bluefin just can't resist here, and yellowfin.
And Max, I want to ask, so you're saying 250 feet at the deepest, but is that like actually how deep is the water? Because I think you guys fish them relatively shallower than we do here.
Right. Yeah, no, that's how deep I'm talking, like 250 feet to the bottom.
Okay.
And most of the time I'd say shallower than 200 feet. And a lot of our fish are glued right to the bottom. That's mainly where I'm jigging most of the time.
Okay.
Right on the bottom for these fish.
Incredible.
Yes.
Wow.
That's different than what we have.
A lot
Such a
different.
different deal.
Yeah.
But what about, I mean, here we've got a lot of rocks and edges and stuff like that, and you're going to get broken up. You guys don't have that back there?
No, once we get out past, definitely past 90 feet, 100 feet, it's basically just soft bottom for us. There's a couple exceptions, but that's basically just soft bottom and slow contour changes all the way until we get to the edge of the shelf.
Interesting.
Way different, way different, because I mean, we couldn't get away with probably the lighter gear, the spinning that you're utilizing there, because I mean, Brandon,
our fish are going to go straight down,
right? I mean, you'd be looking at a 500-foot run straight down, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're fishing, I mean, 2,000 to 4,000 feet of water. The fish can go down rather than out. So our options are limited.
A lot different. Yeah. So now you spend, Brandon, you spend part of your life back in the Keys, right?
I do. Yes.
And of course, that's still East Coast, like Max, but it's a very different bottom there, right?
Yes. Very different from here and from where Max is.
Because you have reefs there.
We have coral reef and hard bottom and rocks and all kinds of stuff for fish to get into. So.
Yeah. And what kind of fishing do you do down there?
We do all kinds of fishing down there. So we do the reef for snapper, grouper. We do the offshore stuff for blackfin tuna, wahoo, mahi, a little bit of sword fishing. And then we do the inshore stuff for permit and tarpon, just everything that the Keys has to offer.
Quite a variety.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And what's your methodology? Jigging, casting, popping?
We do a lot of just the traditional like live bait fishing and then chunking and stuff like that. We do a little bit of lure fishing, but mainly utilizing live bait.
Live bait.
Yeah.
Do you have to catch your own?
We do catch our own. There, you can buy it, certain kinds of baits during certain times of years, but we do try to catch our own.
Yeah.
And Brandon has such a unique deal because he'll spend the full season here.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you can target between what, June and
June to October, pretty much.
June, October, and
Yep.
then the opposite months you're living it up and fishing
in Key West. Yep.
And that's the season down there.
Pretty much, yeah. That's trying to get the best of both worlds is the game plan, or what the ideology has been.
And you'll offer charters on the East Coast as you do here.
We are full service East Coast, West Coast charter operation.
That's incredible.
Lucky Bee Sport Fishing, both sides of the coast.
Yes, sir. Key West and San Diego.
That's pretty cool. And you were out yesterday here locally, right?
We did fish yesterday.
And you're fishing for bluefin?
We fished kind of the local banks. We kind of stuck to, I don't know, sub 40 miles, looking for whatever we could find locally, whether it be small tuna, bonita, or kelp patty yellowtails, really what I've been trying to narrow down on. And we found quite a few kelps with yellows, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to bite yesterday. So.
You said maybe they're spawning, or
I think they're pre-spawn, so they're kind of getting ready. So.
Wait for the moon, and then maybe they'll
something,
bite.
Yeah.
But you said they were big uns.
I saw some big fish, some swap spawners, 30, 35 pounders for sure.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Jumbos.
Yeah.
And there's been some bluefin around too.
There has been. It's been moving around a lot, bouncing between kind of up north and down here, but it's down here right now. It's like 60, 70 miles from the point, and it's around. It's biting a little bit for the guys putting the time in with the kite and the late afternoon type of deal, and then the sport boats are getting some nighttime opportunity.
Yeah.
But overall it's been inconsistent.
Yeah. And you're running what boat now?
I have a 2025 36-foot yellowfin that just came from the factory last year and rigged how I wanted it. So it's been a lot of fun. Triple 300 Mercury V8s.
And
wow.
Yeah. So
and what's your cruise?
We go anywhere we want, pretty much 40 miles an hour.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And Max, what kind of boat are you running?
I'm running the CV. It's a 29 CV with twin 300 Suzuki's on it.
Wow. Wow.
And so, Max, you'll run charters back there, Rhode Island also?
Yes. Yep. That's my main thing. It's split, during charter season when those recreational sized bluefin are around. That's our main summer months, June, July, August, September. And then later in the year, I more switch to the commercial bluefin fishing when the giants are around more. The weather becomes less inconsistent for charters. So I switch over there for the commercial bluefin. But yes, definitely charter fishing during the summer.
Interesting. And what kind of bycatch? Like here, like Brandon was talking about, we'll catch yellowtail, or we'll get yellowfin sometimes later in the fall. And what are your secondary catches back there?
So if I'm offshore, mahi, white marlin. If I'm offshore but not at the continental shelf yet, so our shelf is the closest I can get to it is 100 miles.
Right.
And that's where we get all the cool stuff, the swordfish, the blue marlin, wahoo, big eye tuna, yellowfin tuna. And then where the bluefin are mostly is, say, less than 60 miles from me on that 200 feet and less. And then that's where we'll see mahi will come in, yellowfin tuna will come in the later summer months. Some white marlin will definitely trickle in there. We get a good white marlin bite August and September. And then the inshore fishing, that's striped bass, blackfish, fluke, stuff like that.
Talking more of my speed right there, man. A little striper action.
Yeah, sounds fun.
And so that is that out on the Gulf Stream that you're catching those offshore fish?
Yes. Once we get to our shelf where the canyons are, that's where eddies from the Gulf Stream spin off and hit the shelf there. And that's where you never know what you're going to hook into fishing there. Most of that fishing there is trolling, where we get some topwater opportunities, but most of it's trolling there. And when a rod goes down, you really have no idea what it's going to be. It could be one of 10 species, and all of them are cooler than the next.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So what would can you list kind of some of those species?
Yeah. So the main one would be a big eye tuna. That's like the number one goal when you go out there. And then swordfish, yellowfin tuna, wahoo, a blue marlin, a white marlin, mahi. You could drop to the bottom for tilefish there. Daytime deep drop for swordfish. It's all sorts of things there.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Incredible.
Pretty amazing.
Fishery, yeah.
Different type of fishery than what we have here. But you have to run 100 miles to get there, right?
Exactly. At the closest. Yep. Sometimes it's up to 150 miles.
Holy mackerel.
That's a run.
That's a big run. And you'll do that in a day?
Yeah, but in that CV, I could run kind of the same speed as Brandon, upper 30 miles per hour, low 40 miles per hour, if the weather permitting, of course, and just get out there in 3 or 4 hours, leave in the middle of the night or the night before even, and then fish full day and come back.
What is your weather like in the summer and those months that you're fishing charter, June, July, August, September? What is it like?
It's those are most consistent months, definitely. If we get to run 100+ miles offshore, I say if we get 2 days a week to do that, we're lucky. But to run the 50 and less miles a day, we might get 4 or 5 days a week to do that on a good week.
Sounds like about what we have.
So I might get blown out.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent.
I might get blown out 2 or 3 days a week on average for those closer trips.
Yeah. Well, I know our friend Dave Pfeiffer, president of Shimano, lives down in South Carolina.
Yeah.
It seems like their weather's way more inconsistent than what you have in the summer months, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been down there in the summer, but I know during the winter it's definitely inconsistent down there. Absolutely.
Get pounded.
Same thing with, I'm sure Brandon sees in the Keys.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
The winter.
yeah. What is the weather like in the Keys? Like summertime's pretty flat.
Flat, you get more
Flat
like
and hot.
summer storms. Yeah. The winter times you can get periods of wind. So a week to 2 weeks of just kind of 15 to 25 knots of wind.
No.
Is it a north wind? I mean, what direction
It
is it?
depends. In the wintertime, it's primarily out of the north. But if you get anything less than 20 knots out of the north in the wintertime is pretty nice weather. But we do get days like 2-3 days stretches where it'll be flat calm in the winter in the Keys.
Right.
And that's when the fishing and everything is happening.
That's
It's
like
those
everything comes together.
Yeah. When the ocean comes to life on those calm days.
Wow.
Do you ever fish in the winter, Max?
If I do fish, not up here really. And the only fishing up here from December to March is ice fishing.
Ice
there's
fishing.
I guess technically you could go cod fishing out here, but it's freezing and pretty miserable. But no, if I fish during the winter, I'm traveling south.
Gotcha. Yeah. How can people that are jigging, of course, for bluefin, especially on the sport boats at night here, has become the thing. Especially this year, it's like you want to catch a big bluefin. It's
the only way to
most
do it.
most of that's what's happening. Do you guys do any nighttime jigging?
In the canyons, off in the shelf for the yellowfin and big eye, sometimes yes, but most of it is all daytime here for the bluefin. Specifically talking about bluefin here, it's I think 99% daytime fishery.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's because our depth here, Brandon. I mean, because like you said, we could be in 1,500, 2,000 feet of water, but that deep scattered layer where all the life and the bait and the krill, and it'll be a 40 fathom, but maybe come up to 30 or whatever. And
at night,
I
don't know.
It's just a crazy deep scattered layer where the bluefin will go down and eat the squid. And
definitely plays a huge factor.
I can't get over the decades that we were running over that stuff during the day.
I was just going to say, for decades, it was just not a nighttime fishery. And now it's a total nighttime fishery, right?
Like completely.
Because they were there. I mean, they
100%.
ran right over it, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Max, what can people out here on the West take from your jigging expertise in the East? Any hints that people can improve their daytime jigging here?
Yes, I don't know what you guys are doing for setups there, but one thing that I see people here doing, I don't want to call it wrong, but one huge advantage that they gain when they learn it is just doing longer leaders. I see a lot of guys taking what they know from inshore fishing, using say 5 to 10 foot leaders, and they're getting some bites, but not nearly as many as I usually run a 25 to 30 foot leader, sometimes even a little longer than 30 feet. And that just improves your bite ratio so much because you're working that jig vertically through the water, so that your braid is going to be by those fish before your jig is. So by adding that extra 30 feet to it, I think it gives you a lot better chance to get a bite. That's just one thing I see here. I'm not sure what you guys normally do for rigging.
Yeah, short top shots here, it seems like. Yeah, a lot of times. But right, Brandon?
And there's some that run a longer leader.
Yeah,
too.
some guys put a wind on in front of the jig.
Yeah, maybe 25 feet.
But I'm wondering, Max,
and that's all fluorocarbon.
It's all fluorocarbon.
Okay. But I'm wondering too if that longer leader, like you're describing, Max, actually cushions and helps when you're working a jig semi-aggressively. like it's semi-cushioning, but yet allowing the lure to dance, you know?
Possibly, definitely, yeah. So we're jigging mostly on either a small Talica 16 size or 20 size, or Stella's that 10 to 20,000 sizes. So that's all braid on our reel, and then just that 30-foot fluorocarbon leader on the top.
And you think
it definitely helps a little bit of a cushion.
It helps. It gives some action, more action to the lure than just going straight to the braid.
Yeah, and abrasion resistance. They can't see it as well. And the biggest thing I would say is abrasion resistance, because if one of our fish gets tail wrapped in the braid, that's going to rub through the braid fairly easily compared to fluorocarbon.
Wow. Well, as you can hear, we have a great show lined up for there. I'm already learning a ton, and I know you are too, Cory. A lot to talk about here on Let's Talk Hookup, East versus West here, bluefin tuna fishing with Max and Brandon.
I agree with you, Pete. There's a lot to learn and discuss, and Brandon's super cool guy, works locally on the Lucky Bee and take you anywhere you want, whether it's offshore kite,
anything you want,
kite fishing, islands,
coastline, San Clemente Island. We do it all.
Or whether it's Max back there in Rhode Island, somebody from here might just want to go on a vacation back there and
sounds
try it
pretty
out.
good to me,
right?
Yeah,
Let's go do
great.
it, man. We'll go visit
Come
Max.
on over.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But we have a fun 2 hours ahead of us, having these two gentlemen in here, and we're giving away a really cool package. It's a handful of Shimano lures, a couple
the shimmerfall that Max was talking about.
right, a
Great
couple,
lure.
couple jigs in there, and a couple big stick baits, man.
Yeah,
Those things.
The current sniper. It's a good said Colt sniper. Current sniper,
Yeah.
stick baits, and
It's all
the
right.
current,
Hey.
current sniper jigs too, and a Shimano hat.
I think all of us know it as a Colt sniper.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Seems that way.
But legally, it's a current sniper.
Correct.
There it is. All right. Hey, we're going to be right back. We got these two gentlemen with us. You want to give us a call, 833-288-0973. We've got 2 hours. Is it Jeff this morning, Pete?
Jeff is on the
Okay,
line.
Jeff's waiting for your
phone
call. 833-288-0973. Or you can send us a text via the app. Make sure you do leave your name and telephone number, because Brandon's going to be flipping the prize coin at the end of the show. There's the coin. And we're going to decide whether that package is going to a texter or a caller. We're going to be right back, not only on 97.3 The Fan, but on YouTube and Facebook Live and at Let's Talk Hookup app.
Do you know why 1 million customers visited Summit Gasoline last year at the San Diego Sports Arena? Because they give you the lowest price on fuel, great service, and easy access, even for trucks and trailers at their 24 pumps. Summit is known for the best price on ice, too. Almost half the cost of any other vendor. 25 pounds for just $3.99. Martha and her crew love fishermen, and they'll prove it by giving you 100 pounds free with a 35-gallon fill-up. Summit offers over 40 snacks and drinks to choose from for only 89 cents, and even a line of hand creams and lip balms for 89 cents too. Summit now proudly offers locally made burritos and sandwiches, made fresh daily and ready to go wherever the current takes you. Summit just upgraded their car wash, and for a limited time, get a deluxe car wash for only $6. Grab the wife's car, grab a cheap sandwich, and make up for the day on the water. Summit Gasoline, lowest prices, friendliest staff, easy access, and free ice. What more can you ask for?
Fillet knives shouldn't be disposable. Introducing AFTCO fillet knives that are built to last. Designed in collaboration with Boker, Germany, AFTCO knives feature 4116 German stainless steel, bonded with titanium nitride to ensure optimum corrosion resistance and exceptional edge retention. A non-slip TPR handle maintains a firm grip when processing game fish. Fillet knives from AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
A top fleet and superb fishing is what Seaforth Sport Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, it's no wonder Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limit, El Gato Dos, Pride, Tribute Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth, Sea-Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or regular open party schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
It's employee pricing, and it's happening now at your San Diego County Ford dealers. That's right, employee pricing across a full lineup for trucks and SUVs. A lineup featuring California's #1 truck brand and Ford F-Series, America's all-time best-selling SUV and Ford Explorer, the iconic Ford Bronco, and more. No automaker employs more hourly workers or assembles more vehicles here in America than Ford Motor Company. And that's a commitment your San Diego County Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing to you. It's only for a limited time. Exclusions apply. Hurry to your local San Diego County Ford dealer today.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, and stoked to have Brandon Nelson in here from Lucky Bee Sport Fishing, and have Max on the line. And
Max, what's the name of your charter business?
East Coast Charters Rhode Island, or East Coast Charters RI.
East Coast, and do you have a website?
Yep, eastcoastchartersri.com.
That's simple enough. I mean, if anybody's listening and wants to dig in a little bit deeper, they can do so.
Yeah, and is that how they book a charter too on your website?
Yeah, yep. They could reach out. They could find the email to contact there, or my cell number. They could email, text, call, whatever the easiest way for them is.
What's your cell phone number?
203-528-5520.
All right, and luckybeesportfishing.com?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Lucky and the letter B,
Yep.
sportfishing.com. And is that how they book charters?
Yep, same way.
Online.
Online. Fill out the little form, send us an email or a call or text, and we'll get back to you when we get off the water.
Wow, very good.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's the idea, is being on the water every day, right?
That's the goal.
And you're, when the fish are biting, you're out 5 days a week?
Yeah, and when the fish are biting and the fishing's good, we're 5 to 6 days a week.
And what about you, Max?
Yes, if the weather allows, it's 5, 6. If we get a week straight of weather, which we never really get, it would be 7 due to all the reschedules when the weather is bad. But yeah, I would say on average 4 to 6 days a week.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Well, phones are packing up. They want to talk. We got a lot of texts that guys want to have questions for you. So let's jump into the phones.
Let's
Cory?
do that, Pete. How about John? John calling from Colorado Springs. Good morning, John. Appreciate you joining us on Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, Cory. Good morning, Pete. Good morning, Max. And good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
I'm from Dallas. You guys called me yesterday, but I was from Dallas, Texas. But anyways, my question to Max and Brandon is, can you guys use a standby carpenter? I could carry a screw gun and a tape measure.
Oh, you want to go fishing for free? Is that the idea? I'll fish for work.
Correct.
Gotcha. Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Not in today's day and
Father's
age.
Day to you guys.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day.
Hey,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Happy Father's Day. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate that very much. It is Father's Day, and
Yep.
Happy Father's Day
Yeah,
to all the
everybody.
dads out there.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day to you,
Thank
Cory.
you,
I know
thank
you're
you.
soon to be father, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Soon to
Happy
be.
Father's Day
Thank
to
you.
you. Expecting in September.
Yep.
Wow, exciting.
Very.
And Max, what about you? Are you a dad?
Nope. I'm only 24, and
Wow,
I don't even want to think about that right now.
Yeah, good for you.
Good man.
Well, I'm almost 70 and I'm not a father. So how about that? But anyway, of course, all of us probably have dads that got us into fishing. I know I did. My
Absolutely.
dad, who's not passed away way too early
Yeah.
at 52, got me into fishing with boats and everything like that. And I owe all my fishing. I know Ricky's dad was a big part of the show and got him into fishing. And I don't know about you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
My dad got me into it for sure. Fishing Lake Casitas, actually. We'd camp for a couple weeks at a time and fishing largemouth bass.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep.
And, and I know
Yep.
your dad got you
Yep,
into
my
fishing.
dad.
Yeah, I know
He,
your dad very well.
He inflicted me early, and it's been the same road ever since. So.
Yeah. What about you, Max?
Yeah, my dad and my grandpa both, started the path. Definitely started the path. Whether started fishing freshwater and then saltwater inshore, and then just slowly built the way up. But yeah, without them, definitely
That's
got to
cool.
give credit to them.
Oh,
Yeah. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
And Rick's story is really cool, Pete. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Kingfisher trip he's going on
yes,
is one
he's en
that
route for.
him and his dad did many a times.
with us together. I'm going to say this is our 30th or 31st annual
Incredible.
Kingfisher Charters trip
That's
up
awesome.
with Seth Bone and his crew up there, and Rick's dad, and I went every other year, and Rick and his dad have been every year, I think, except for one in those 30 years.
So,
And
so
then
the trip
until he
he's
passed.
on is kind of a celebratory.
Yeah, they always celebrate the Codfather is usually
Yeah.
calling Rick's dad up there. So yeah, that's
And
and that's why we kind of have it always on over Father's Day.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
super neat. I hope
Yeah.
someday Rick gets to take his two
Oh,
boys.
you know that's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no question
Sooner
about
than
that.
later.
Yeah. That's going to happen very soon,
Yeah.
like Brandon says, for sure. Well, hey, let's talk to Mr. Mike Lum right now with Captain Rollo's Kids at Sea. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, guys. Listening to all the talk about Father's Day, it made me think of a couple of things. You know, with the Friends of Rollo and the Captain Rollo Kids at Sea program, we've taken over 150,000 kids on their first ocean fishing trip. And I was reading a statistic not long ago that said that 80% of all anglers started fishing before they were the age of 12.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
80% of us that fish started before we were 12. So obviously the dads and the grandparents and the organizations that take kids out fishing when they're young, that's where the future comes from. So it's really important that we keep this ball rolling as long as we can. So happy Father's Day to everyone.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to you too. And we have a big event coming up 1 week from today. Maybe some of the guys that Max knows too from the East Coast, right?
Oh.
Absolutely. We have the Wicked Tuna guys coming back out to help us with Tuna Wars. This is Tuna Wars 10. Hard to believe we've actually been doing this that long, but a lot of money has been raised over these years thanks to those guys being willing to come out from the East Coast and fish with us out here and help us raise money at the captain's reception. And that captain's reception this year is next Sunday, 1 week from today, and it'll be get kicked off about 4:00 on Sunday afternoon there at Dana Landing. There's no cost to attend. Anybody that wants to come over and get an autograph or a photograph with the Wicked Tuna guys, or just visit with a bunch of local fishermen and have a great time. We have a lot of things planned. Got some great raffle, live and silent auction items. We've got Bill Batson coming down from Batson Enterprises, and he always brings with him some of the most amazing custom fishing rods, and those will be live auctioned off. And there'll just be a lot of cool prizes. And I think anybody that comes out or has been there in the past knows it's just a relaxing, fun, get a lot of laughs, and we'll have some good food there. It costs nothing to attend. You don't have to buy a ticket. We do ask a $30 donation for a wristband if you want to eat and drink. But you're not obligated to do that at all. You're welcome to just come over and enjoy the evening if you'd like, and hopefully you'll come over and find some raffle items that you can't resist. And Costa is sponsoring this event this year. We're going to have a nice incentive. If you buy some raffle tickets, you're going to get a pair of Costa glasses, and be a number of other fun things going on that evening. But it's a big part of Tuna Wars is the captain's reception, because the boats that'll leave on Monday evening are sold out. We'll be fishing this year on the Tomahawk and on the Liberty, and those trips have been sold out now for a while. But the public that's not actually going on those fishing trips really makes us a successful event by coming out to the captain's reception and helping us raise money.
And there's some super cool raffle prizes too. I know you
Huge.
go every year, right?
Yeah, I love it. And Mike, $30 and
For the food.
For the wristband for adult beverages.
Is Jeff from Sushi on Roll going to be there?
Yes. Jeff is going to be there, Pete.
And you can eat $30 of the sushi. No problem, right?
Mike, I can't go south. I cannot go south of the border and eat for $30 with a beverage.
You know, anymore, I'm not sure you can stop at a local fast food place for $30. It doesn't seem like. But Jeff from Sushi on a Roll will be there, and will be serving up some wonderful sushi and whatnot. But he has also made a giant donation to us, and I just got Tim Baker told me just the other day what the details were, and I believe what it is he's going to allow us to auction off a private group of for 10, and he's gonna go to your place of business, go to your home, go to whatever, and you're gonna have Jeff and all of his famous sushi at your disposal if you win this.
Wow.
And who wouldn't want to throw a party at their house and have Jeff himself there serving up the sushi?
Oh yeah. So there'll be beer and wine there, and also soft drinks and water and such like that. What other food is going to be there?
You know, I don't have the current list. Tim has been working on that. You know what? The Captain Dan.
Oh, Captain Dan. I was wondering if Captain Dan's Pizza is the best pizza around. Yeah, Captain Dan's going to be cooking pizzas up. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
there's no shortage. There's no shortage of food or beverage at this thing.
And it's super fun too. And we're going to have Captain Dave Marciano and his wife Nancy, plus Captain Bob Cook from Wicked Tuna and their operations here on the show next Sunday, 7 to 9 a.m. next Sunday. Yes. Rick will be back from Sitka that day, and we'll be having them before the event. And Max, by chance, do you ever run into those guys?
Yeah, if I'm fishing more towards the Cape Cod area, definitely I'll see their boats out on the water all the time.
Oh,
depending on if sometimes they'll shoot down south here every once in a while, but more if I go up north towards Cape Cod, I'll definitely see them out on the water. Absolutely.
I know Bob Cook's a super cool guy, super nice guy, and
he really is.
Yeah,
and I can't thank him and the other captains. You know, Paul Hebert actually was the first to get this thing started 10 years ago, and he's the one that got Dave involved. And I'll tell you what, I can't even fathom how many hours these guys have donated to us to come out and make this possible. And it's just been a huge success to the Captain Rollo Kids at Sea program. We just can't thank them enough. And of course, all the volunteers that help us put this together. And then of course, all the public that comes out and makes it happen. But
and it's all about taking kids fishing. This event is totally for a fundraiser to allow us to take more kids fishing. And what a better event to talk about than on Father's Day.
Is. And if you'll go to rollokids.org, you can get the information right there on all of this. It's easy to get. Also, we are now in the process of selling our annual Reel a Week tickets. We've kicked that off, and we're in the process of selling those. That information is also on the website. You can also call Tim at 951-264-7382 and just tell him you want to get some tickets, and he'll get you set up. That's $25 to enter, and then you're in all the drawings for all the reels that we're giving away, and they're all top of the line reels. Are listed on the website if you want to go check that out. We'll also have those available at the reception next Sunday.
All right, next Sunday, 4:00, Dana Landing in Mission Bay, right there, Dana Landing in Mission Bay. It's free. Just come on out, starting at 4:00, and you'll be able to meet Captain Dave Marciano and Nancy, plus Captain Bob Cook, and a host. I'll be there, and a lot of people. You going to be able to make it?
Absolutely.
All right,
$30 for all you can eat and drink.
Yeah.
Come on,
bring it.
Not going to miss that one.
There'll be a lot of people there. It's a great event. And of course, Steve Pinard will be there hosting it. It's a great event. Next Sunday, 4:00, the captain's reception, Captain Rollo Kids at Sea. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys. See you then.
Have a great day. All right. Hey, I have great text here to get us started here. And if you want to get through on the phones, we do have 2 lines open on the phones. It's 833-288-0973. And this is from Wayne in Carlsbad. He says, good morning. Question for both Max and Brandon. What knots or connections do you use for fluorocarbon leaders to your braid or your wind on? Let's start with you, Brandon. What are you using?
For connection knots, like anything less than 60 or 80 pound, I'm just doing an RP knot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's tried and true. Slim, it cinches down real nice and it holds perfectly. And then anything 80 or up, I'm using a wind on connection.
Okay. So, and what you like a loop to loop?
Loop to loop.
Yeah. Whatever, like a bimini twist and a loop to loop connection or something like that.
Whatever Darren's doing in the shops. I think it's usually it's not a bimini. It's only a bimini if it's solid braid. He does all the hollow connections.
Oh, hollow connections.
Yeah, so everything's nice and streamlined and tight.
Hollow ace.
Yes.
And how cool is that to have the boys at Fisherman's Landing like take care of all your stuff?
Yeah, those guys are the man.
Personal Ricky guy.
Yeah, Darren's my man. He takes care of us for everything, and it's top notch. And
Yeah.
when you leave the shop from those guys to go fishing, you're set.
Yeah.
Like,
What about you, Max?
For braid to fluorocarbon, I'd say most of the time, specifically when talking bluefin, is an FG knot. That's the strongest, slimmest connection to go through the guides that I have the most confidence is the FG knot.
Yeah, and that's
and I'll use that. I'll use that all the way up to, if we're jigging heavy stuff, 180 pound fluoro.
Wow.
I'll still trust it to do that.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We got some pretty big news yesterday when we had Dale from Seagar on, and they're now going to put Seagar Gold starting. They're going to introduce it at ICAST in July, up to 200 pound.
That's
starting in
incredible.
the fall. Starting in the fall.
That
So,
gold is good stuff.
The gold.
Oh,
is
that-
absolutely.
That stuff has really become, like, in the inshore even.
Okay.
It's become my life.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like from largemouth bass, freshwater to inshore,
Yeah.
it's
the stuff.
it's all I use. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little more expensive, but it's
the-
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not doing any wind on loop to loop type connections, Max?
For my jigging and casting, not necessarily. No, I'd say a lot of the people out here do that. It's probably 50-50 guys that use an FG knot and guys that use wind-ons for that. It's just personal preference. I started using wind-ons when I first started and gained confidence in that. I mean, FG knots when I first started and gained confidence in that. And some guys have all the confidence in the world in wind-ons. So not one is right or wrong, but FG knot is just what I prefer.
Everybody swears by the FG knot. It's just I've never taken the time to learn it.
Me neither.
For sure.
Oh, that's all
right.
good stuff. Max, hang tight. We're going to take a quick break. And when we do come back, we're going to be taking your calls, texts, and we've got fish reports coming up too. So we're going to be right back with Brandon Nelson and Max on the East Coast when we return on not only the Let's Talk Hookup app, but the YouTube, Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan.
45 years. That's how long we've been right here on Mission Bay, helping friends and family like you discover the joy of sailing, kayaking, and everything life on the water has to offer. I'm Logan from Bass Lane Kayaks, and if you ask Ron and Debbie Lane whether 45 years feels like a long time, they'll tell you time flies when you're having fun. You see, the Lanes have followed their passion for a life on the water, and they've made a living inviting others along for the ride. Over the years, the shop has grown and changed, and so have the employees and products inside. From selling catamarans in the 1970s as newlyweds, living in a VW bus in the store parking lot, to being the destination Hobie fishing kayak store they are today, working with their 2 sons and daughter. You might be looking for a new way to enjoy time on the water with your family, or maybe you're looking for a new way to stay active, enjoy nature, explore, and catch a spotted bay bass. Whatever your goals, come visit us in Dana Landing on Mission Bay, and we'll get you geared up and ready to enjoy life on the water.
One rod has set the standard for serious saltwater anglers worldwide, and that's CalStar. From the rugged dependability of the West Coast series, the lightweight strength of the Graphiter, or the performance of the GG series, all CalStar rods are handmade right here in Southern California of the finest materials and craftsmanship. Check out the new CalStar models now available, as well as upgrades to the classic rods that you know and love. If you want your tackle to be state-of-the-art tools to get the job done right, it's CalStar at fine tackle dealers.
This is Captain Tim Ekstrom from the long-range vessel Royal Star. With my partners Randy Toussaint and Brian Sims, we have set the bar for the long-range fishing experience. Spring 8-day, summer 5-day, or fly-down, fly-back 11-day winter trip, we deliver the highest quality long-range voyage you will find. From our premium RSW fish storage to our top-of-the-line chefs and crew, Royal Star distinguishes itself from all others. Want to grab a spot on the Royal Star? Check us out at royalstarsportfishing.com or call Tracy at 619-224-4764.
For local or long-range fishing, we have you covered. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. Being a part of the San Diego Sport Fishing Landing gives us a distinct advantage when it comes to getting you on the latest and hottest tackle for your trip. Our expert staff knows exactly what you need for your long-range or local trip, and we will not sell you something you don't need. We carry a huge inventory of the right tackle. So visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, and learning so much today, Pete. It's so much fun, and we're giving away a $250 roughly the $250 package of Shimano stuff, man.
Yeah,
jigs and current sniper. And
thanks to Max Dispoto with East Coast Rhode Island or East Coast RI.com. That's his charter business, or how you can book that. And then of course Brandon Nelson here with Lucky B Sport Fishing, our local man here on the West Coast, East versus West, learning a lot of different techniques that we can probably learn a lot from Max and from Brandon here to utilize our improve our jigging and our fishing for bluefin much better. But if you want to get through, one line open at 833-288-0973. Jeff at the Fan is standing by, and time for the catch board, Corey.
It is, and sponsored by Gamakatsu. And if you'd like to fish for tuna, and if you're not using Gamakatsu hooks, you're missing the bites. And the Nautilus Circle hook comes in sizes as small as a number 4 and all the way up to a 6-aught. And for the big fish, a Nautilus HD is tough enough, but not oversized. And both come in a ring or no ring. You can see your local dealer, or you can check Gamakatsu.com, and we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, well, speaking of Gamakatsu, there was a lot of questions after, I believe it was last week or the week before, you were talking about that Gamakatsu, what hook you're using for your weedless.
Oh, yeah. So that's the 5-inch weedless, which I'll fish everything from El Salto to the Surf to Calico Bass. It's a 5-inch, and that is on a 7-aught Gamakatsu, super line, I think, swim bait hook they call it.
Yeah.
Comes in a 1/8 of an ounce and 3/8. I go heavier, 3/8.
Okay.
Fish is much heavier than the labeled 3/8 of an ounce.
Okay.
And the coolest thing I ever saw, Rick Carr showed me the double down spring lock hooks. They are money.
That's new, something new.
Go to your shop, pick them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one I can't live without is the braid scissors, the ceramic
braid, the ceramic braid scissors.
You have a pair of the,
I don't.
You need a pair.
Oh man, you get a pair of those.
Yeah.
Those
They have a
best
serrated
braid
edge
scissors.
so that the braid doesn't slip.
They don't rust.
They don't rust. Thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I think Rick has them in the shop.
Hey, Captain Brian Willie's on the line from Tuna Wars Sport Fishing. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Happy
morning.
Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Happy Father's
Happy
Day.
Father's Day,
Yeah.
Brian.
Well, for us this week, man, this water temperatures just kind of fluctuated a little bit from day to day. You know, we've been in the 60s for sure, but it's been like kind of low to mid to, over 66, 67. So that's kind of just been a little kind of influx. But I will tell you that the bass fishing has continued to be good for our half day guys. Calico Bass has been all over the live bait offerings, fly lines, skidding bites, sinker setups, rubber lures, hard jerk baits. Like the whole program has been getting bites, which is good to see as that fish is kind of getting active here with the spawn. So that's been good. The halibut have been in play here too. It's been kind of a nice addition to some of our local half day stuff. It seems like there's a fish or two every trip, and this halibut has ranged in size from like 5-6 pounds, kind of just a legal fish, to pushing 25-30 pounds. So it's been a nice mix of that halibut. And this has kind of been over the last couple of weeks. These things have been definitely on the radar for those guys on the half day run. Baits obviously at or near the bottom, reverse dropper loops, or the heavier rubber lures fish, or the rubber lures fish with the heavier lead head, 1.5 ounce, 2 ounce, something slow rolled across the bottom, has been getting the bites for those guys. 3/4 day trips this last week. They did mix it up a little bit. Some bass action on some days down in the kelp there below San Onofre, through like barn kelp, yellowtail kelp down there. And they've been out on the 14-mile bank. That 14-mile bank has still been really good. It's hard to get away from that stuff, with the bass fishing just being a little finicky from day to day. So that 80 to 100 fathom zone out there has been amazingly good for the bait anglers and the jig guys. Just solid quality and plenty of that fish to go around there. But again, it's kind of been a day-to-day thing. So it's hard for us to get that kind of the scope of the trip out there to our anglers. So my advice is call the office, check the passenger loads, ask what we're going to be running on those 3/4 days, because it's really kind of a freelance approach. One day it might be on the bank, the other day it might be on the beach. So it's kind of hard to plan for that unless you call and kind of get a heads up for the next day. And then the Fury's been having some really good fishing on their overnight stuff at San Clemente Island. On the anchor in the mornings in the squid zones, they've had some sea bass shots. Yesterday they had 5 sea bass on their morning. That fish went from like 12 to 25, 30 pounds. And then that yellowtail obviously in play there as well. They had 5 of those yellows for their morning, kind of mixed in with that sea bass. And the rest of their days over there has been kind of a mix of rockfish, whitefish, along the kelp there for some bass, bonita, barracuda, and a little bit of that action as well. So good mix of stuff going on for us as this water's kind of, like I said, been kind of the key player here. So we're looking forward to another great week. If you guys want to hop on a trip, give the landing a call. Always a good idea. 949-496-5794, or you can hit us on the web as well at danawharf.com. But again, call the office and kind of get an idea of what the boat's going to be doing so you can bring the right tackle and kind of plan ahead from there.
All right. Very good. Captain Brian Woolley, Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. Appreciate that report. And we'll talk to you next Sunday.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for the time. See ya.
All right. Thank you. Hey, phones are packing up. Let's go ahead and jump back in the phones, Corey.
Okay, how about
lots of text? Too.
I know, a lot coming
so keep
through.
them coming on Father's Day here.
Right? And we get giving away a cool $250
Super
package from
prize.
Shimano.
Yeah.
Baja Ben, how about talking to Baja Ben? Appreciate you calling. Happy Father's Day, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Morning, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Awesome to have someone from the East Coast on. I've been out to Rhode Island because my lady lives out there, and I'd like to know like a little bit more about the boat and how many people you take, and a little bit more about that, perfect time of year for that 200 grade kind of fish. It'll give me something to do when I'm over there with the in-laws.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Hey, good to hear from someone who comes out here. I would say the best time of year for that size bluefin is going to be July through September, even into October. That's when the fish are here and the weather is the most consistent. So you need the two of them. You got to have the fish here, and then you got to have good weather. We have them here still in November and December, but the weather windows just get few and far between. I recommend on the website, it says 4-person maximum. That's kind of the balance of, I understand guys want to split the cost of the trip between them, so more guys the better for that. But then if you add more than 4 guys, it becomes cluttered and not as good of a fishing experience. So I try to cap it at 4. If some people want to go out with only 2 or 3, that's even better, but up to 4 really is the maximum.
All right. And do you have some of those prime dates available this year, Max?
Yeah. Yep. June is basically taken. There's maybe some left in the end of July, but now if you're looking to book, it's going to be more looking at August and September. There should be dates left. There's some dates left.
Well, we do appreciate you taking a day off today for us. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. I have a question. We're talking about hooks. How are you rigging your jigging, your casting lures and such like that? What's the hook situation there?
Yeah. So say that they'll take the Shimmerfall, for example. I like the terminal tackle on that. If there's some bigger fish around, I may swap out the hook on that, tie my own assist cord, get a bigger J hook on there, but still one single J hook on the top is all I like. That's my preference.
On the top.
I think one single J, yes, on the top of it. Just how it comes rigged in the package. I'll fish that for fish under, basically I've caught them over 200 pounds on it, but under 200 pounds, I say that's ideal. That's perfect. The hook is strong and it's still big enough to catch in the corner of the mouth there. But for fish over that size, or even if there's consistent 200 pounders around, I'll swap that J hook out for a little longer assist cord and a bigger J hook. And same thing on that solid ring to a split ring, the split ring that's on there. And then I tie a barrel swivel onto my leader and put the barrel swivel onto the split ring there. That's a big thing because it prevents the jig from twisting my lineup. I love having a swivel on there.
On the top?
Yes. Yep. Right to the split ring that's on the top of the jig. So on the top of the jig, there's a split ring to a solid ring, and then on the solid ring is the hook. That's perfect. And then I just add a barrel swivel. Say I use a Spro 230-pound barrel swivel all the time to that split ring, and then I tie to that swivel.
And that's for giants too?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Like I said, I'll go to a bigger hook. There's so many different hook options. It depends on the scenario, but just same shape hook that's on the Shimmerfall now. Just tie it with I buy a assist cord, tie a hook on, put it onto that solid ring that's on there, and fish that for giants. Yep.
Wow. I can't even imagine pulling on a 600 pounder on a jig. It's like, what?
That's crazy.
It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem real.
No.
But it is real, right, Max?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's plenty of people out here that do it. People call it crazy, and it really is crazy, obviously. But But the gear has come so far. It's somewhat normal now to see fish over 400, 500 pounds being caught on spinning gear. It's not a feat like it was even definitely 10 years ago. It was a feat, but now it's like it's normal.
Yeah, well, the Shimano gear has become so much better. The spinning gear, the Stella, the big Stellas and stuff like that, and the rods, it's unbelievable.
That's crazy stuff for sure. Max, hold tight. We're at the top of the hour break. We're going to be right back with Brandon Nelson and Max Dispoto from the East Coast when we return on Let's Talk Hookup app, 97.3 The Fan, YouTube, Facebook Live.
Haida Gwaii Safaris, formerly Queen Charlotte Safaris, invites you to experience the magic of Haida Gwaii Islands, British Columbia, Canada. Hi, I'm Valerie Hoprich. 25 years ago, I fell in love with these incredible islands, the breathtaking scenery, the warm community, and the truly phenomenal fishing. That passion inspired me to open my own fishing lodge, just steps from the Sandspit Harbor at Haida Gwaii Safaris. You will be fishing in pristine, unpressured waters for Chinook, king salmon, halibut, lingcod, and much more. Plus, be surrounded by untouched beauty. We pride ourselves on creating an unforgettable venture that turns first-time guests into lifetime friends. You will come for the fishing, and you will come back for the memories. We are booking now. Call us at 1-877-815-2892 or visit our website, qcsafaris.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. Haida Gwaii Safaris, where adventure and friendship meet.
Anyone that's been to the East Cape knows Smokey's Curing Company Cantina, the best food and drink in Los Barillas, and a fun place to hang out and watch your favorite sporting event. If you're lucky, you probably had Smokey's process your fish to take home. Their quality and service is top-notch. You'll see me at Smokey's Cantina hanging out with the owner, Chris, and my buddies when fishing in the East Cape. And we always send our fish to be processed at Smokey's, too. Now Chris has added one of the finest boats in the East Cape available for you to charter for a day or more of fishing. Vaquera. It's an immaculate 35 Cabo with a seakeeper and Captain Diego Romero, one of Baja's best. If you're looking for a great charter boat when fishing at Palmas, Playa, or other resorts, Vaquera, booked at BajaSmokies.com, should be your choice. So when you're headed to the East Cape, be sure to stop by Smokey's Curing Company Cantina. Send your fish to be processed there and fish aboard the 35 Cabo Vaquera. Check BajaSmokies.com for more details.
Hey guys, this is Ali Husseini from Local Knowledge and BD Outdoors. I'm a lucky guy in so many ways, and one thing I'm really grateful for is my little brother Yosef. Yosef is not only a fellow angler, but he's also an amazing realtor that specializes in helping us in the angling community find the ultimate home. If you own a home, get a free no-obligation evaluation online now by typing in SoCalHomeEval.com. That's SoCalHomeEval.com. All you do is put in your address, and you'll get a home value report immediately sent to your email. No pressure, no obligations, just answers. Yosef is the SoCal real estate go-to guy. He's helped me and so many of my fellow fishing buddies find what they're looking for in a home. He knows anglers and he understands the real estate market. Not only that, but he's also a really nice guy. How many brothers can you say that about? Go to SoCalHomeEval.com and find out where you stand in the real estate market, and then get with Yosef and find your ultimate home. Again, go to SoCalHomeEval.com, and we'll see you on the water.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, it's Chris Ello from Gwynn and Chris, the voice of reason on an otherwise crazy and out of control show. Listen for yourself. Gwynn and Chris, weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station. This program is sponsored and produced by Let's Talk Hookup. Opinions and offers expressed during this program are not those of Odyssey or 97.3 The Fan. Sometimes they tell some pretty hefty fish stories. We don't know if they're true or not.
And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Cory Sanden.
And welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube, Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan. We have a great show here for you. Brandon Nelson from Lucky Bee Sport Fishing and Max Dispoto, who's with East Coast Rhode Island Sport Fishing. Super good with East Coast versus West Coast, bluefin tuna, jigging, and more. A lot of fun talking fishing here. And boy, exciting Father's Day here. And
it is.
Cory Sanden is here with me, and Rockcod Rick's actually in flight up on his way up to Sitka there. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and super good day to talk fishing here with these boys.
And just have a good time, right?
Yeah.
And we're giving away a $250 package from Shimano. It's got some of the shimmer falls, some of the current sniper, like big jerk baits. I mean, you could use them for in the Sea of Cortez, Cabria fishing. You could use them for what? Yellowfin, bluefin,
calicos,
everything.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then of course some current sniper jigs too that are fantastic for bluefin.
Those
They
are
work
good.
really, really
So-
well.
so we're giving away that.
and a Shimano hat.
And a hat to go with it, man. I'll ship right to you. And we're giving that away to one lucky caller or texter. If you want to give us a call, Jeff is waiting for your call at the Fan. There's one open line.
Yeah.
That's at 833-288-0973. Or you can text us via the app. Make sure you do leave your name and telephone number when you send us a text, because Brandon's going to flip the prize coin right there at the end of the show.
Yeah, for sure. And Max is standing by, and of course, Brandon's standing by. But right now, let's finish up the catch report with Gundy Gunderson, our surf guru extraordinaire. Good morning, Gundy.
Gundy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Great. What's going on the surf?
It's the most wonderful time of the year, I think. You know?
Bring it on.
Yeah, very good fishing on many fronts. The full moon. We're on the backside of the full moon, so we got those real strong tides. The water's warming. You know, I think we hit the 67 mark on a few beaches, 64 to 66, most beaches. The sand crabs are showing real good. And this week, good catches with barred perch, halibut, croakers, white sea bass, even a handful of striped bass. But what I wanted to talk about this week was the phenomenal spot fin croaker fishing. You know, we've been reporting all these fish. You know, Pacific Coast had their derby, and I think they've got 7 fish over 5 pounds and like a 6.5 pound leader. You know, one of my buddies had a 6.5 pounder off Doheny there. I seen a 7 pounder off River Jetties. And then this week, my buddy, I sent you the picture, Pete, but my buddy sent me a picture of a 26-inch spot fin croaker, bottomed out a 10-pound scale.
Oh my gosh, that's about I think that's about as big as they get, Gundy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've heard of maybe 11, 12-pounder caught in Baja, but that is a massive fish.
That's a big one.
That's a jumbo, man. That's, dude,
The
a
guy,
fight.
I understand he was fishing off Oceanside, and they were soaking sand crabs, so it was, you know, pretty tight to the beach. That's been a very good area, the lagoons and stuff. And when you think about those spot fin, you got to think about natural bait. You know, you could be fishing spots with lures and they could be there. You'd never know it. You know, once in a while they'll hit the lure. So you got to think in terms of like a sand crab, lugworm. They like mussel, you know, anything. And then innkeepers, and you get to those rare, they love worm type baits, you know, because they feed in the harbors and outside the surf line. So that's where you want to target them, you know. Outside the breakers, usually you got to go with a long rod. And it's a difficult fish to target in the sense that they're light biters, you know, so you can't fish 6-pound tests and expect to land a 10-pound fish. So you got to stay up there, not real heavy, but 12-pound, maybe 15-pound, you know, if you're fishing long rod, 17-pound at the most, you know, you might even go to a fluorocarbon leader, 12-pound leader, 10-pound. You got to work with it with these fish, because at times they bite good, other times they're real light biters. And you know, like I said, you want to focus outside the breakers. You know, preferably, you know, river mouths, rips, where the current's coming out, holes, troughs, that sort of thing. And then also the bays and harbor, you know, the main harbor channels, secondary channels, jetties, docks, that kind of thing. And it's one of those fish, they call it the ghost fish, and that's because, you know, you don't know it's there until you target one. But with 10-pounders, 5-pounders, 6, 7-pounders swimming around, it's a game fish worth investigating.
Yeah,
Gun- man, your reports every week, Gundy, fire me up, man. I just want to go
Can't wait
fishing,
to go surfing.
right? I mean, from all the legal halibut to legal sea bass last week to now what, 5 to 10-pound spot fin?
Spot fin, that's a big one. Yeah, for sure. Well, great job, Gundy Gunnison.
I mean, we have a phenomenal inshore fishery, we really do.
For sure. And it's it's kind of untouched too, because not a lot of people are pressuring it.
Well, not a lot of people
It goes under the radar, you know. There's not a lot of reports. It doesn't have all the, you know, the highliner type of stuff. But there's guys making fantastic catches on light tackle, and if that's your goal, is to land big fish on light tackle, then that's the place to be.
Yeah,
there it is.
Gundy Gunderson, our surf guru extraordinaire. Thanks a lot for that. We'll talk to you. Who knows what's going to happen?
Have a
next
good
Sunday.
week, guys.
All right,
Always a
thanks,
good show.
Gundy. Talk to you next week.
All
Appreciate
right.
that very
And
much.
for all your surf fishing needs, check surffishtackle.com. That's Bill Varney's site right there, surffishtackle.com, and you get it done. He carries a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah,
That's
he
great
does.
news.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Max, speaking of stripers, you guys have quite the striper fishery there in your area, right?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say Block Island, which is right off the coast of Rhode Island, that is the #1 place in the world for striper fishing. That's where the biggest fish pulled for the longest amount of time. It's incredible the size fish and how many are there all summer long.
And what size fish is that?
Average size fish, I would say, is 40 pounds, and then a big one is over 50 pounds. That's like the goal is always to get a 50-pound fish. But the big fish are 40 pounds. There's 20 and 30-pound fish there too, but a big one is 40 pounds, and then the big ones are over 50 pounds.
Do you run charters for that kind of thing, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really what's going now because our tuna fishing hasn't picked up yet, which is normal. It's right on schedule. That's really what's going on now is the striper fishing. That's June, July, August. But once July and August come, tuna really take over. So June and beginning of July are the main months for that.
Just for selfish reasons, can you talk about like the depth and are they biting on the surface? Are you baiting them down deeper? Like, I mean, and I guarantee you there's people listening in Southern California that would love to come do that.
Yeah, me too.
Me
included.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Block Island is a rocky, beachy island, and it's right in the middle of their main highway, their migrating highway.
Yeah.
And the big ones just settle there for some reason. It's always held them there. And the main way to target them is using live eels. That's the traditional way of doing it. Drifting those on a light sinker, nothing more than 2 ounces usually, or even weightless sometimes in 20 to 40 feet of water, call it average 30 feet of water. And you're just drifting live baits over them. You're marking them on the sonar, and the big ones are going to be down towards the bottom usually. So you want the eel close to the bottom, but not dragging in the grass down there. That's the traditional way to fish them. But now artificials like rubber weighted eels, that's a really fun way. You cast around the artificials down near the bottom, and that thump when a 30 or 50 pound striper hits that artificial, it's insane. It's one of the most addicting bites there is, and it almost rips the rod out of your hand. You set the hook as hard as you could, and it's just a fish trying to get down into the rock. You got to try to keep them out of there. And then, yeah, they do come on top of the surface too, especially this time of year. Throwing top waters around for them, casting those current sniper jigs, the Shimano Splash Walk, all different kinds of top waters. It's fun. You can catch them on live bait down deep, catch them casting artificial subsurface or top water, and they're big fish, 30 to 50 plus pounds.
Oh, wow. And they pull hard, I guess.
Oh my, yeah. And if you let them go, they're going to get you in the rocks and break you off.
Wow.
And the water is relatively clear up here. So I can't use, not that I can't use, but you're going to get less bites if you go above 40-pound leader. So most of the time I'm using sometimes 20, 25, 30-pound leader for fish that far exceed that, and it's a balance of getting bites and trying not to break them off. So
And
it's a tricky fishery, but it's incredible.
And what kind of gear are you using?
I like usually 4,000 or 5,000 size reels. So like the Shimano Twin Power 4,000, the Saragossa 5,000. Those are all usually spinning outfits, and I could either live bait or cast artificials with those. They're really versatile, which is nice. And then Shimano Terramar rods, the Terramar XX, the regular Terramars are really my go-to for that.
Now here on this coast, we would probably fish a tranks for that, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but you guys don't really fish tranks that way, right?
Yeah, I would say we use them more for bottom fishing than casting. It hasn't really caught on yet. Yeah, guys love them for bottom fishing just because they're so small and smooth in your hand with the push button lever. They love them for bottom fishing. I love them for jigging, light inshore jigging, which is great. But for casting, we're usually always preferring spinning gear. Yeah.
Spinning gear. Interesting.
Super.
Right.
West Coast versus East
I
Coast
know,
thing.
right? That's
really
probably
is.
one of the biggest differences, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I can't believe watching you guys cast the bluefin with Trinidad's and big tranks. Like it's unbelievable to me because that's we only use Stella for that, or Twin Power, Saragossa, but always spinning reels. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm probably in the minority here on the West Coast, but I have caught big tuna on a Stella, and it's pretty amazing. Have you caught big fish on Stellas?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how much power you can get out of a Stella.
It'll pull you out of the boat.
But I think where the line is kind of drawn is on a sport boat. And Max, I mean, we have 20 to 30 guys on a stationary platform,
Right.
and it's not as friendly as
It's more of a live bait fishery.
Right, exactly. But it's not as friendly as it would be on Brandon's boat, where you can chase that fish down. And
on a sport boat, you can't put a spinning reel on the rail.
That's
true.
true.
So
Yes,
the
yes.
tranks with a 8 or 9 foot jig stick, you can put that thing on the rail and put a
Yeah.
crank on it.
Yeah. What happens when you hook a big fish on a spinning reel, Max, and somebody's just like no boss? Do you put a harness on them or something?
Usually, it's very rarely we'll use an actual full harness. We may use a plate like a fighting belt around your waist just to take the pressure off of your hip there.
Gotcha.
But most of the time, that's about it. Never. And there are times where we use a full harness, but I'd say 90-something% of the time, just a fighting belt or a little cushion on the bottom of it, and that's all.
Yeah. I've seen like some of like AFCO makes like a little strap, like a spin strap that you
Yeah,
can
I've
put
seen
on
that.
the reel and put a shoulder.
Right, exactly.
Shoulder harness or something.
If I am going to use something, it's definitely the AFCO one. That's specifically made for spinning setups.
Yeah. Cool. Well, great text coming through. The phones are packed. Do you have a good one, huh, Cory?
I do, yeah. And it comes from Daniel in Santa Barbara. Thank you for sending your text through the app there, Daniel. It says, good morning, gentlemen. Great show. Question for Brandon and Max. Are you using different style jigs during the day as opposed to nighttime? He says, thank you.
Yes. I personally, we don't do a lot of nighttime jigging. So the number one kind of jig that I would use in the daytime would be like a current sniper, like a 80 to 100 gram for your daytime fishing. Just like a light, shiny jig works well when you're kind of sitting on schools. And then kind of like what Max said, those sardine wavers or the shimmer falls during the night would probably be the best bet for us.
Yeah.
Like the 200 gram or whatever.
And what about you, Max?
Yeah, like I said, we really don't do much night jigging
Yeah.
over here. So I would assume that just for what I have done for at night here, we transferred the exact same thing that we use during the day for nighttime. So I would still stick with the shimmer fall and even the sardine waver.
In the same gram, 80 to 120 or what?
I think that the shimmer falls and the sardine wavers are heavier.
Heavier, okay.
They can be.
Shimmer fall is the longer, skinnier one, right?
It's more like a knife jig.
Like a knife jig? Yeah. And those things are killer for yellowtail.
Are they?
Especially in the Baja. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But it's so what would you use? You use mostly a sardine waver or a shimmer fall, Max?
So it's day to day here. Sometimes they like a little wider profile with a slower fall, and then some days they like that shimmer fall, that skinny shape. I think it really depends on the bait that they're on. We fish a lot of sand eels, around a lot of sand eels, so that's why the shimmer fall works so good here. But if they're on squid or mackerel or something like that, a bigger profile, that's when the sardine waiver works better. So it's day to day.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's jump into the phones, Cory.
Let's do that. How about Mike? Mike calling from Phoenix. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Happy Can you hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
Yeah,
Mike.
good morning and happy Father's Day.
All right. Same to all you guys. Hey, my question is quick. Going on a day and a half here in the next week or so. And terminal gear, hook size, what's a bait look like?
Oh, good question, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon.
I mean,
That's been a day-to-day thing. Some days it's been straight anchovy. I think they're saving enough sardine though for the sport boats, but it's been on the big side. So like I'd say 5 to 8 inch sardine is probably what you're going to have. So like a 2-aught, something like that would work pretty well for you.
like a well-rounded
Beautiful.
hook.
Thank you guys for your.
No problem.
Yeah,
Thanks
definitely,
a lot
Mike.
for the call
Appreciate
this
you
morning.
calling,
Yeah,
man.
I have a great text here from Tom in Northern California. He says, great show as always. So many states lined up along the East Coast. What kind of licenses do you need to fish offshore?
The main thing is where you come back into. So we have our federal permit for catching them. Say a recreational guy going out, all you need is a federal permit, the NOAA HMS permit, and then that covers you for all water out there. If you're specifically talking a charter guy, it depends on what port you're coming in and out of. So I have a Rhode Island charter license, so I have to come in and out of Rhode Island. But I could fish off of New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey. All those places are within 100 miles of me. So I may be fishing off of even down to New Jersey some days. So
but it's a federal permit.
To keep the fish, to target the fish, yes, it's a federal permit. And then if you want to go into the commercial side, that's where it gets nitty gritty, where there's a bunch of different state permits that you need. But just for a normal guy going out to catch tuna, the federal permit is all you need.
What about striper?
Just a regular fishing license, nothing specific you need for stripers.
Is that a Rhode Island fishing license?
Yeah, so a state license, and then our states are so small, they kind of put them all together. If I have a Connecticut fishing license, it covers me for Rhode Island, New York, I think even Massachusetts. Maybe not Mass, but they kind of have like a tri-state agreement where a fishing license works if you're in state waters, if you have one from there. So
Interesting.
my Rhode
That's
Island
cool.
license will work in New York.
Yeah.
Super cool. I don't think California would ever allow that.
No, California doesn't allow much at all. They don't even allow us to fish sometimes, right? So what about in Florida? Is it a Florida state license?
Yeah, for fishing. So we have a guide license. The boat has a guide
Right.
license, and then there are several federal permits that you have to have. So most of them are open access for charter fishing, but there are some closed access ones for fishing, like the Gulf, that you have to purchase from somebody else. They're a closed access fishery, but
Interesting.
yeah.
And then a Florida state license too.
So for Florida, if you're on a charter, the boat guide license covers everybody on the boat.
No kidding. So
Yeah.
you don't have to have a fishing license.
Correct.
You
How
have
cool
to pay.
is that?
That's
No,
nice.
no, it's cool for the fisherman, not the captain. Because
Well,
you got to pay for it all, right?
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's
but
covered
it's-
under.
yeah, it's
covered
it's-
under. So if you're
It's all part of it.
basically, you're a tourist and you're coming to enjoy Florida, you get to jump on his boat because he's already purchased his captain's license.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Florida guide license is 1/10 of the price of the California guide license.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
How about that?
Yeah. And
Same deal here in Rhode Island. If you're coming to fish here, your fishing license is covered under the captain's license, under the charter license that I bought from Rhode Island.
Yep.
that makes
Why
a lot
can't
of
California
sense,
do
doesn't
that?
it? Yeah. Why can't
I mean-
California does some very different things? Yeah, for sure.
You think?
Yeah. So what about here in California? How does it work?
So we have a boat license, or a boat guide license, and then everybody needs a fishing license, whether we're fishing California or Mexico.
Oh, Mexico water. Yeah. Now you'd need a Mexican fishing license no matter what, I'm
Correct.
sure.
Yeah.
If you're fishing in Mexican waters.
Yes.
Yeah. But you don't need a federal license here.
No.
So we got that going for us.
Right?
At least.
Too funny.
But is the California license way more expensive than your Florida license?
No, it's 10 times more expensive.
10 times more
Not 10
expensive.
times, 5 times more expensive.
Five. Okay.
Wow.
Still, it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, it's $500 for the Florida license, and it's about $2,000 for the California guide.
Isn't that
license.
crazy?
Yeah.
And Newsom thanks because it's fixing the potholes on the freeway.
Yeah,
So,
right.
whatever. Yeah, something.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
It's going somewhere. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's jump back in the phones.
Let's do it. How about Hills? Hills calling from Ventura. Appreciate you joining us on this Father's Day on Let's Talk Hookup, Hills.
Good morning. Happy Father's Day, everybody. For Max and Brandon, actually specifically for Max, I spent summers back east because my dad lived back there, and my dad did get me into fishing. And he, so I used to, first place I learned to pound the beach was in Connecticut there, a lot of Cove Island in Stamford, Connecticut, and caught my first striper there. And one of the most fun things was the snappers, which are, and Max knows more about it, baby bluefish. And they're just, and they're really good to eat when they're small, like 6 inches, 7, 8 inches. But I guess people don't eat them when they're big because they're nasty or something. But a big bluefish would be fun to catch. And then Max has the freaky looking fish, like he mentioned blackfish, but then there's a thing called a sea robin that's like an ugly cabezon flying fish. And it's and then in all the eels back east in the rivers and the beach, man. And then they have these horseshoe crabs on the beach. They're like a giant trilobite. So I'm saying, Max, you got some freaky stuff, man.
Oh,
that's funny.
Not just the fish, the people too.
The people too, yeah. Well, that's true everywhere, right? Yeah. So I ate Hills. Thanks a lot for the call this morning. Yeah. So do you? I mean, I know bluefish is a big target back there. Do you target bluefish, or is that just kind of not in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely on the table. The 2 main times I catch them is either stripe or bycatch because they usually hang around the stripers. And then that's my number 1 bait for giant bluefin fishing. If I'm commercially fishing for them, I'll go out, catch bluefish, put them in the live well, and then take them to where the tuna are and fish those. They are awesome game fish. I mean, they're a blast to catch. Catching them on top water, they pull. They really are fun. So I'll catch them when striper fishing, and then catch them for bait when giant tuna fishing as well.
And what family are they in? What is a bluefish?
Good question.
Man, I'm trying to.
It's almost like it's a shape of a yellowtail.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the mouth of
Yeah, they have like a bull head. They're weird.
So they're not a jack. They're not a drum.
The mouth of a blackcod.
Interesting.
But the shape and body and tail of a yellowtail.
And they're edible.
So
edible, yeah. It's not people's favorites. They're pretty
Yeah.
oily.
Oh, gotcha.
So a lot of guys will smoke them if anything, but
Enough
people
said
do eat
there.
them.
Anytime somebody says, "Oh, they're great smoked," it's like, no.
Exactly.
And they actually they're like our barracuda. They'll chew your plastic in half.
Yeah, they got
Like that's so if you've got short bit, like a triggerfish.
Yep.
Cut
Cool.
in half. Done.
Well, we have a special guest on the line this morning, filling in for Yosef, who's actually in Alaska with his brother Ali, fishing up there. We have the man from FishDope calling from the East Coast.
The man,
Mr.
Danny.
Danny himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's brought to us by the Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get your premier processing experience. Check out the easier online system to book your processing for your long-range trips. And with more team members, Fisherman's Processing stays far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity and the finest customer service. You can stop by their location in Old Town and Taylor Street, or you can just check them out online at fishmansprocessing.com and make your reservations today. And good morning, Danny.
Hey, good morning from sunny Big Pine Key, Florida.
All right.
Morning.
You're almost neighbors with Brandon back there.
Almost, yeah, not far. So anyway, I'm going to start off with a little bit of news here. The limit for sea bass goes from 1 to 3 today. Sadly, there's going to be some massive massacres happening. Channel Islands at Rosa, the 10, 15-pound sea bass are biting stupid, and so are halibut there. If you get off the squid beds after catching your sea bass and focus on halibut, I mean, the Freedom scored 81 halibut on there. That's unheard of.
81 halibut.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's saying, yeah.
Incredible.
If you see any big sea bass being caught up in the Channel Islands, they're coming from Cruz or Anacapa. They're not coming from Rosa. All right, let's skip down. Santa Barbara Island is the secret right now. We don't tell anybody. The backside's got sea bass biting and halibut. I didn't say that.
Yeah, that might be where Mark Wish is as we speak.
No, we're not supposed to talk about that. So, let's see. San Nicolas Island still got that big grade of halibut biting the sand spit. A little bit of sea bass there, a little bit of black sea bass and bat rays too. I'm going to skip to Catalina. There's plenty of squid at Catalina. If you need to make squid, that's the place to go. Pacific Carnage has been selling bait there, but they're not there today. They dropped off all their stuff at Nachos. They're taking a couple of days off. Even San Pedro bait's got squid for sale, which is really unusual. But Catalina's got squid in the front, squid in the backside. You shouldn't have any trouble finding where to make some bait. So still some big yellows and sea bass biting on the squid beds on the backside. It's a little inconsistent from what it's been, but we're going to slip inside here to Long Beach, North Newport Beach area, I should say. Sand bass. We haven't seen sand bass biting like this in years, guys, especially at twilight trips. It's full speed limit fishing.
Sweet.
Yeah. Big clouds of sand bass on the sonar. I have not heard that in years. So anyway, let's see. I'm going to skip outside to Clemente. Clemente's got big yellows and sea bass biting just outside the caves bed squid area. Ideal depth for this is 130 feet. Ideal time is 2 a.m. to sunrise. After sunrise, go to the front side and chase little bass and yellows there. There's that stuff dies. Coronados has had some off and on yellowtail fishing. A lot of it's running the ridge in the middle ground. If you can sit there and be stable on the ridge, you can do well on the yellows. And lastly, some of that big bluefin is out there by the 390. Between the 390 and the border, there was some more caught last night. This stuff's like in the 100, 130 pound grade. That's the average fish being caught right now. Can you believe that?
It's incredible.
The little tungsten jigs, the 300 gram tungsten jigs is the ticket. I know they're expensive, but if you want to get a bite and you're spending all that money already, buy the jig, rig it right. You won't lose it. And that will do it for FishDope report on Father's Day.
Yeah, FishDope Coach Danny is the man when it comes to finding all the fish, and he gave it up here more than most people do. More than most people do. So $30 off a new membership to FishDope.com using the code Hookup now, lowercase, no space. And yeah, Ricky was telling me that fully rigged 300 gram tungsten jig, which they're sold out of, by the way, is like $130, $140. The jig's $100, and then you got to rig it with the right hooks and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you want to rig it right because you don't want to lose that jig. Yeah, for sure.
But Danny, we appreciate having you, and I think Mark Wish might take back over you giving up his SBI.
Hey, Danny, enjoy. You're welcome here anytime. We love your report, and we'll talk to you, Yusuf and maybe Mark next Sunday. Appreciate the report.
Good stuff, Danny. And that's brought to us by Norsk Lithium. Power your boat with Norsk Lithium, the ultimate choice for marine adventures. Norsk delivers unmatched starting, trolling, and electronics power. Norsk batteries are packed with cutting-edge technology. Upgrade your marine power today. Set up your system with Norsk Lithium at norsklithium.com. Or you can go see the trolling motor doctor.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Max, I have a question about electronics. We were talking. Danny was referring to sonars and stuff. What kind of electronics do you use for when you're fishing bluefin there?
I have Furuno on my boat. So Furuno sounder, fish finder, radar, and navigation.
Okay, so you guys don't use side scanning sonar.
Not for tuna specifically. We'll use it inshore to find bait, stuff like that. But most of the time offshore, just normal, traditional down view, sonar.
And what about you, Brandon, out here?
We have the same, not for but we are Simrad.
Simrad,
But yeah, just your traditional up and down sonar.
Yeah, up and down, not a side scan.
Not a side scan.
Because you're daytime fishing, right?
We're daytime fishing, and it's a little bit tough to put them in a boat like ours.
Like that.
Yeah.
That goes 60 knots.
Yeah, they would work. It's just more of in any kind of weather, you get a lot of disturbance and turbulence on the sonar. So it's like, it won't work how you want it to work every time.
Yeah, gotcha. Cory, you have a great text, huh?
I do. I have two, and the first one's very short, and it comes from Russell in Huntington Beach, and he was wondering what the name of the braid scissors were. And the braid scissors that we were talking about, Pete, are made by Gamakatsu, and they're called
ceramic.
Braid scissors. I think
They're just called ceramic braid scissors.
Yeah, and they're awesome.
You can get them at most tackle stores, or check gamakatsu.com.
And the second text is for Max, and says, "Good morning, fellas. Max, after we catch one of these giants, do you have a local processor like Fisherman's Processing here in San Diego to process our catch?" And it comes from Mark and Fallbrook, and so our processor here, Max, Fisherman's Processing, takes your whole fish and puts it in 1 or 2 pound chunks and vacuum seals in a 5 mil bag and sends it home with you like in perfect condition. Do you have that kind of service back there, Max?
Yeah, I've never had someone actually go as far as vacuum sealing it, but they'll definitely package it, use dry ice coolers to ship it, or bring it on the plane with you. People, it seems like there's no perfect way to do it. Some people say shipping is better. Some people say just bring it on the plane with you. Checking it in on the plane is better. But yes, package them up, dry ice them, send them back however you want them cut up.
How cool.
Gotcha. So specifically, of course, in California, again, you can't sell sport caught fish. Is that the case in Rhode Island?
So the line with bluefin, the line is drawn at 73 inches. Any bluefin under 73 inches can be kept. There's limits. Can be kept for personal use, recreational use. And then over 73 inches is considered a commercial fish, and by law it has to be sold.
Interesting. Wow, by law.
Crazy, huh?
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
That's, you have to get a ton of permits, a ton of hoops you got to jump through to be able to keep a commercial fish. And so it's not everyone. So most guys have to release fish over 73 inches.
Oh,
but I jumped through all the hoops, got all the right permits, safety gear, everything. So I could sell them.
Oh, okay. So if somebody comes recreational to catch a giant with you, you get to keep that fish if it's over 73 inches.
Yes. If it's a day if the season's open, it's the right day, everything lines up. Yes, it would have to be sold.
Yeah.
Unless it goes or we would have to release it, one or the other.
That's probably a big payday if you get a good one, right?
It's not as good as people say or think it is. The price is just because normal supply and demand. There's so many around. The prices have gone down over the past handful of years, so it's not bad. Obviously, it's an extra small chunk of money, but I mean, we're seeing is sometimes we can't sell one. There's so many, and we'll see prices as low as $1 a pound sometimes, which is a shame. But,
it's really a shame.
Yeah.
But to see over, I mean, if someone gets over $10 a pound now for a bluefin that they sell, it's like, holy crap. But I'd say average is half of that. Yeah. If you get $5 a pound, you're happy now. So it's not like you're making $1 million off of selling a fish.
Now I wonder,
get that idea out of people's heads.
I wonder in conversation between the four of us, Max, because I don't know if you're aware, but like on the West Coast here in Mexico, they net them, they keep them in pens, and they're raising them as they would cattle, right? So they're fattening them up and feeding them chovy and sardine and getting them on the fatter side. And the fat content in a bluefin is what dictates the price. So I wonder if the pen-raised fish here are of such great quality, could that be affecting because they're both going to the same source, kind of, really. I mean, there's a small amount, I'm assuming, that stay local, but the 90% are probably going overseas.
Yeah. Now I'll kind of address that, because I was fortunate enough a few years ago to go to the Toyosu Fish Market and ask those questions and such. the higher prices are going to that East Coast bluefin or the stuff from Italy, the stuff
big
from the
fish.
Mediterranean, the big fish, because it's all about the fat content.
Yeah.
And they have at the fish market, they have the tail sections out and guys can judge it and grade it and such like that. The stuff from the pens, and we saw some of it over in Japan because Ted Dunn, who's running the pens, allowed us to get in on his license there. Is high grade, but it's not as high as some of those fish that are like Nova Scotia, Maine, that kind of stuff.
And Max's world, really.
Yeah, and your stuff is pretty high grade, right, Max?
Yeah, it fluctuates throughout the year depending on which school of fish is around. There's different schools of fish that come around, and the later in the year, usually the better they get. Once we get late into the fall, even getting close to winter, that's when we see the best fish around, best quality fish around. But it's not uncommon to see a really good fish come randomly in the summer.
Interesting.
And so that stuff we saw when Wicked Tuna was on the air, where they're getting $30 a pound or $20 a pound, that's just like that's not reality, not real life,
not reality.
I'll stay out of that. Yeah.
Oh, Max. Hey, Max, hold tight. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Brandon Nelson from Lucky Bee and Max Dispoto, who runs East Coast Charters there. When we return on not only the Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube, Facebook Live, but we're on 97.3 The Fan.
Hi, this is Captain Ray Lopez, owner-operator of the American Angler. I've spent more than half my life aboard the American Angler along with my partners Brian and Lori, developing a team that's as good as it gets. I've been fortunate to spend time in the ocean with so many fine people that I look forward to fishing with. We can't thank you enough for being part of the American Angler family, and if you haven't joined us, we love the opportunity to meet you. Text or call Lori at 619-223-5414 or check AmericanAnglerSportFishing.com.
Looking for the ultimate Alaska fishing experience and the best value in Alaska? Look no further than Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. A trip to Kingfisher includes everything you need to make your experience legendary. The finest fishing fleet in Sitka with the best captains, deluxe accommodations, gourmet food, world-class fish processing, and the best part, it's all included for one amazing price. Kingfisher is Let's Talk Hookup's most popular destination. Hundreds of listeners have experienced Kingfisher Charters, and most go back again and again. You have probably heard a lot of big promises from other Alaska lodges, only to find there were lots of hidden charges. Not Kingfisher. Everything is included. 10-hour fishing days, your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, and fishing gear. All you bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. Kingfisher Charters, your Alaska fishing destination. 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com.
This is Pete Gray to tell you about my fishing buddy Dan Hume and his amazing company Hume Termite. As you know, Southern California is infested with termites. It's a constant battle for anyone who owns a home, and that's where Hume Termite come in. They're strictly termite experts. They start with a thorough inspection to find out why you have termites in the first place, then recommend sustainable treatment options that work. Hume Termite has been controlling my termites for years, and I have recommended them to numerous friends. Did you know 99% of termite companies are commission-based? Not Hume Termite. They're all salaried employees, and with a thorough inspection, they'll help you solve your termite problems, not sell you something you don't need. Let Dan and his crew earn your business through customer service and trust. It's swarming season, and now is the time to call Hume Termite at 760-598-2201. They'll come out and give you honest answers to solve your termite issues. Check HumeTermite.com.
It's employee pricing, and it's happening now at your San Diego County Ford dealers. That's right, employee pricing across a full lineup for trucks and SUVs. A lineup featuring California's #1 truck brand and Ford F-Series, America's all-time best-selling SUV and Ford Explorer, the iconic Ford Bronco, and more. No automaker employs more hourly workers or assembles more vehicles here in America than Ford Motor Company. And that's a commitment your San Diego County Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing to you. It's only for a limited time. Exclusions apply. Hurry to your local San Diego County Ford dealer today.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, and man, having so much fun in the world headquarters today, and just talk with Max from the East Coast, bluefin, striper, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Max, I want to come back and charter you, man, for that striper stuff, right?
And Brandon too. But I want to thank both of you guys, Max and Brandon, for taking a day off of chartering and to be here with us, talking about fishing. And on Let's Talk Hookup for sure. Well, let's jump back on the phones, Cory.
Let's do that. How about Steve? Steve calling from Carlsbad. Appreciate you joining us on not only Father's Day, but on Let's Talk Hookup. Thank you, Steve.
Hey guys, hey, it's good to finally talk to you. I've been listening to the show since the inception back on the 690 days.
Yeah, it's
and I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I'm not much of a fisherman, but I'm a surfer, so I'm always around the ocean. And what these guys, East Coast guys, are saying about those blue striper bass on the East Coast. I was surfing out in Montauk one time. I guess it was early fall, and these guys were catching 20-pound stripers right off the beach, like dozens of them. It was amazing. So
that's pretty cool.
You think the East Coast doesn't have it going on, but they do.
Oh, they do.
I haven't seen people catching fish off the beach like that here.
That's for
sure. No.
But my question is, I'm going to start beach fishing with my grandkids, and I'm wondering what kind of rig should I get?
Oh man,
Max, what do you think? There on the East Coast, are you delve into that surf fishing there?
Relatively very little. Some guys are fully committed to it and they know the ins and outs of it. But like he said, in the fall, we get the fall run when the stripers start migrating back south, and the bait is right up on the beach. And during that time of year, I'll definitely get into it a little bit, and it's really cool. Catching fish of, up to 20, 30, 40 pounds right from the beach on top water.
Cool.
It's fun.
Oh, that is
so
cool.
That's a select time of year when it's easy enough for someone like me who's not fully into it can go and catch them, but got to give credit to the guys that are fully into it and can catch them all spring, summer, fall, and know it like the back of their hand. It's really cool. It's a whole different culture for the surf guys here.
Cool.
Wow,
fishing.
so neat. Curious with my own question, what the size limits, are you allowed to keep one or two, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a slot limit for stripers. It's one per person between 28 and 31 inches.
Okay.
So a small slot, one per person.
But just to catch and release from the surf,
Oh,
it's got to
so
be
fun.
insane,
Yeah,
right?
so
But
fun.
have you done that, Brandon?
I have not.
Oh man, that
fun.
sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So Cory, for the West Coast here, you would be our go-to guy for the rig to fish the surf. What are you going to use?
For Steve taking his granddaughters, like Gundy was talking, there's so much stuff in the surf, from the spot fin to the surf perch. Use a small hook, and the bait's free and available on the beach.
Yep.
I mean, just get some small
And
hooks.
that's part of the fun too, is catching the bait for the kids.
Here's what I would do, Steve. I would go into Pacific Coast Bait and Tackle. The young kids that work in there are awesome. I'm in there often, and they're super cool.
They're up in
people.
Oceanside.
Right there in Oceanside,
on
and
the Coast Highway.
They will help you out, man. They're just the local beaches right there, from half pound to 1 pound surf perch, readily available. On that same cast, you may catch a 4 or 5 pound spot fin.
Are you going to fish 6 pound in the surfs, Cory?
Not me, but yeah, you might have to.
What are you? Yeah, well, you're going to fish like 80
Well,
pound, right?
I'd be trying for the halibut. Yeah. A little bit
You
heavier.
fish 20?
Line. Personally, I'm fishing 40 pound gold to
No
50
kidding.
to 50
Right.
pound
In the
power
surf.
pro. In the surf.
You go, Cory.
Well, but if I catch a 15 or 20 pound halibut, I want to get them.
Sure.
Yeah. If I'm lucky
but
enough.
typically 6 to 8 pound test for the Corvina, and
Absolutely.
I've
Yes.
even caught them on the fly in the surf, the Corvina.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But I think Steve would have fun just catching surf perch and readily available.
A lot of good stuff.
And the rod.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
it.
rod. And they're not that deep. I mean, those fish might only be in knee deep, shin deep water.
If you're making a big cast outside, you're
going
out
too
way
far.
outside of them. Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. Darren Menifee has a happy Father's Day for everybody, and he says he has a couple of older Shimano bait runners that are great for kids and novice friends. What is the best Shimano spinning reel with a bait runner feature? Do you guys, Max, Brandon, are you familiar with that?
Not totally.
I use the Thunnus.
The Thunnus, yeah.
Their bait
We use
runner.
Thunnus.
Yes. 6 and 8,000 size is what I use for stripers, mainly the 6,000 size for stripers here, and it's bulletproof. It's unbelievable. That reel is, I've used that for probably 10 years now, and it hasn't had that many huge changes to it just because there's nothing to change. It's an unbelievable bait runner reel.
Yeah, and so you actually use bait runners back there?
Yeah, yep. It's nice if, say, I want to start throwing artificials around, but I want to have an eel down deep still. I could put the eel out on a sinker, let that down, put it in the rod holder with the bait runner on. If a fish takes off with it, go over, click it over, and put the artificial down. So it can kind of fish 2 rods at once.
Cool. Good stuff. Yeah, that bait runner feature is special. But the Thunus is much, it's a much more bulletproof, shall we say, than the standard bait runner?
Yeah. Yep. I would say bulletproof, just different design, different body material, just different gearing and drags in it. But that gold bait runner, the standard bait runner, is a great reel too.
It's a great reel.
I've had people, I know people that use that just as much as I use the Thunus, and they don't see a reason to jump up to the Thunus. So both are great reels.
Great.
That's good stuff for sure. Want to take a call? Let's do it. Let's go to Robert. Robert calling from Canyon Country. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, guys. Wanted to thank you. I won a trip last year on the Horizon. It was at the end of the season, so my grandsons and I, 3 of them, are going out on the Horizon next week on a 1.5-day trip. So just wanted to thank Let's Talk Hookup. Heard somebody talk yesterday. Mike from Torrance mentioned the backpack rig. Just wanted to make the best of our 1.5-day trip, and I know things aren't happening during the day. What about like flyers or backpack rig? Is it worth it?
What do you think, Brandon?
Backpack rig is pretty specialized. I think during the daytime, your best bet is probably going to be either a sinker rig, sardine, or some sort of small shiny jig for the bluefin. Depending on if you want to bring your own flyers or if the boat has flyers, they could rig up the backpack, but it's pretty not intense, but there's a lot that goes into sending a backpack rig out.
But now if he was going out with you,
then it's no problem. Yeah.
Entirely different situation where you're going to put him on the school where he's got his best opportunity to possibly get bit on that.
Yes. Yeah. We fish the backpack a little bit. Like if we're putting the kite out on the downwind side, and we'll slide a backpack rig out the back or upwind or something. But we don't do that a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And if somebody's on the kite and you're on a long battle, you might slide one back, maybe even.
Or we put another bait out on the kite while someone's fighting. Yeah.
Well, there it is. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So a question for Max. Do you guys use flyers back there or kites?
No, very rarely. The only time we'll use a kite up here is commercial bluefin fishing. We might put a bluefish or a mackerel or a bunker on a kite to have a bait right on the surface. But that's in rare occasions, but no flying fish at all up here. I'll see them. I'll see flying fish out in the canyons where that Gulf Stream comes in, and that's what a lot of the tuna are eating out there and the marlin are eating out there. But never really use them for bait at all. No.
And so you're not flying a kite or anything like that.
No, very rarely.
Pete's mind's thinking about just coming out with you and flying a kite on that Gulf Stream, man.
Wow.
See,
I don't know about that. If you're right. But here, it's kind of like if you want to catch a big bluefin during the day, that's the way to go, right?
That's the way. I mean, we do a little bit of high-speed trolling and a little bit of live bait fishing for the big ones, but 98% of the big ones are caught on the kite from a small boat.
Yeah, and you're using dead flyers and
the imitation, like the rubber ones,
the rubber
California
ones.
flyer.
California flyer.
Yeah.
Are you still trolling the yummy flyer?
You can. It's definitely still effective. We
Yeah.
haven't done it in a while.
Yeah.
But it's definitely still effective. It's tough when you get into a fleet of boats.
Yeah.
The yummy is, but
Because generally speaking, you're fishing where there's other boats because that's the zone, right?
typically, I mean, this bluefin moves in blocks, you know, so
Yeah.
everybody gets on it. Sometimes there'll be schools, whatever, east or west of it, but a lot of the times it's in a block. You're fishing in a 5-10 mile block with however many other boats.
Cool. And what about you, Max? Are you fishing with groups, or are there lots of boats in the same zone because that's where the fish are, or are you kind of solo?
Yeah, definitely. Once a bite starts and people catch wind of it, there's going to be other boats there. There could be, if it's a flat, calm day on a weekend, there could be too many more boats than you want there for sure. But we're usually around other people. It's good knowing a handful of the boats there that are there almost every day, like me. So we're able to network together. But then there's a a whole nother crowd that comes out like on weekends and stuff that could clutter it up a little bit, but understandably everybody wants to get in on it.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We have had a lot of questions about rods and line class ratings for rods for jigging. And I know you're really up on that, Max. When you're fishing for that smaller grade bluefin, jigging for it, give us the Shimano rod and rating that you like to use and kind of that whole rig.
yeah, so there's a couple different ones, starting with the smaller of the size that I'll use. I like the Grappler series a lot. The Game Type J series is also great, but I'll just talk about Grappler now. The same ratings go over to Game Type J as Grappler. The normal size that I'll use with, say, a 10 or 14,000 size reel for fish sub 100 pounds, so smaller than 100 pounds, is going to be the Grappler 5.6 heavy. So the heavy rod, I want to say that's rated for 300 gram jigs off the top of my head. But that's the heavy, talking about the Grappler series. And then for bigger fish, when I jump up to the 20,000 size reel, I'm going to go with the extra heavy or the double XH even for the jigging rods there.
Yeah. So now, do you use the jigger, the conventional jigger reel back there?
Yeah, yes, definitely. So for conventional jigging, I'll use, Talica is a huge one, and then the Osea jiggers. There's the lever drag one and the star drag one. Both are great for the smaller size bluefin, and then for the bigger bluefin is where Talica comes in. And same thing with the grapplers, the heavy grappler, and then the XH or the double XH grapplers.
Okay. Yeah. That Osea jigger lever drag, that's a
nice
workhorse,
reel.
man.
It's
That
a
is
nice
such
reel.
a nice reel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing kills it.
Yep. That paired on a grappler Game Type J, for that specific reel, I like the 5.6 extra heavy. It matches the power of the reel well. It's such a fun combo to jig with. You could jig with it all day and never get tired, just because of how light and powerful the rod and reel is.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Is that jigging style as popular back there as it's become here, Max? I mean, it's really over the last couple seasons has become like the way to do it here.
Yeah, you go out, most people. There's a time where trolling is the way to do it, but then once those fish settle down deep, every boat is stopped drifting. Stop the boat drifting and jigging.
And what depth of water are you jigging in there?
Less than 200 feet most of the time.
Shallow.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
wrap
cool.
your mind
That sounds
around
like fun.
It's different.
That sounds super fun. And then, of course, you have that. You promote that G Loomis rail rod is
The
pretty
IMX
amazing.
Pro
The
Offshores,
IMX Pro Offshore.
all the rods that we use.
All your rods are IMX. I love those rods.
I do too.
Super lightweight.
They're awesome
and powerful too. And the whole line. Do you use the all the way light
everything.
to big?
Every rod I have is one of those ones, from fly lining on 20 or 25 pound up to fishing the kite with the Talica 25A. Like everything in between is a G Loomis.
What's your favorite IMX offshore?
I like I do a lot of fly line fishing for yellowtail, and small tuna, and that. So that 8 foot, I think it's a 15 to 30 pounds, perfect 25 pound rod with a Trinidad 14.
That's a sweet reel.
So fun.
Sweet rod. And you match that with what?
Trinidad 14.
A Trinidad 14.
Yep.
What a nice
You can fish almost everything with that.
Yeah,
really.
it's
Calico
so
bass,
versatile, yeah.
sea bass.
Yep.
Hey, we're going to be right back. Hold tight, Max. We're going to find out who's won this package from Shimano when we return on the Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube, Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan.
You know, whether you're going fishing, diving, or just having fun on the water, there's nothing more worth doing than messing around in boats. So let me ask you, are you ready to upgrade your ride? Boat and Motor Mart of Oakland is your exclusive Western U.S. dealer for Steiger Craft. Created for inshore and offshore waters and laid out with the serious fisherman in mind, Steiger Craft has built a solid reputation for performance and excellent rough water handling. If adventure on the water is what you live for, now's the time to invest in your passion. Call Boat and Motor Mart of Oakland at 510-437-1444. To look at the whole fleet of Steiger Craft online, go to steigercraft.com. Now's the time for a rugged, reliable, and fast Steiger craft from Boat and Motor Mart of Oakland.
The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. Our hardworking crew will make your fishing experience one to remember. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet is second to none. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service sport fishing operation offering great half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the spacious and comfortable 85-foot Liberty. With bunks for your comfort, a huge bait capacity, and RSW fish holds to keep your catch fresh. Fisherman's Landing also boasts the best captains and crews in the business, from seasoned veterans to our young future legends. All our open party trips from half-day, full, or 1 to 3 day trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com or give us a call at 619-221-8500. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Hello, this is Captain Mike Totter from Searcher Sport Fishing. Alongside my colleague, Chef Josh Evans, and our dedicated team, we invite you to join us aboard the Searcher. Our fishing trips range from 1.5 to 8 days, available May through November, and include charter options. We're committed to upholding a legacy of top-notch customer service, delicious food, and a friendly and talented crew. Book your fishing adventure online at searchersportfishing.com or call Rachel at 619-226-2403. That's searchersportfishing.com. We look forward to welcoming you aboard.
Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to new levels with the largest sport fishing fleet in Mexico, a luxurious spa, and top-of-the-line resort amenities. Van Wormer Resorts have become a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting VanWormerResorts.com. And when you're ready to book, it's quick and easy. Or simply call 877-777-TUNA for more information. Van Wormer Resorts, the East Cape's finest.
Hey, it's time for the 30-second Power Pro seminar. Here's the hot tip for those of us that like to fish with small reels for big fish. Fill your spools with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro. That means you're going to get more line on that small reel. Plus, you can fly line your bait more effectively. Here's another tip about Power Pro Max Quattro. Your casting distance will increase in addition to increasing your spool capacity. So downsize your tackle and use Power Pro Max Quattro. Check powerpro.com for more information.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. We're going to have Brandon flip the prize coin. He's got $250 worth of Shimano lures going to a caller today. That's Hills and Ventura.
All right, congratulations, Hills. And Brandon, thanks for coming in. How do we go fishing with you on Lucky Bee Sport Fishing?
You can go to the website, luckybsportfishing.com. Send me an email, luckybsportfishing@gmail.com, or hit me up on my phone, 760-445-4834. Also Instagram at Captain Brandon Nelson.
All right. And Max, how do we go fishing with you there in Rhode Island?
Same deal as Brandon. Visit the website, eastcoastchartersri.com. You call, email, or text, and on that website, there's a bunch of different videos about the rigging and tackle that we use on the East Coast here. So if you wanted to check that out, and also you can check Instagram and get in contact with me there at East Coast Charters.
All right, very good. And your phone number again, if you want to book a trip?
203-528-5520.
Very good. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Brandon. Great show and great weekend. Thanks to Jeff in the fan studio. Thanks to Adam for all he does on the Let's Talk Hookup website. Next Saturday, Tim and Duke Ekstrom from the Royal Star. Next Sunday, Captains Dave Marciano and Nancy, plus Captain Bob Cook from Wicked Tuna. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week right back here on the Fan, YouTube, Facebook Live, and the Let's Talk Hookup app.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Manny Machado from the San Diego Padres.